Hey guys, Angelo Esquivel here, back with another cell phone case review for the ZTE Axon 7. Now, this case comes from a company called Circlemall, and there's actually quite a bit to go over. Because for about $10 on Amazon, you get a lot for your money. So, quick overview. You get a 3-part case. You get a stylus, which works quite nicely. You get a tempered glass screen protector and some wipes and such to make sure your phone is clean before applying the screen protector. So, in my mind, for $10, that's not half bad. So, first thing we're really going to delve into here is the case. Now, like I said, this is a 3-part case, and the third part is kind of optional, but we'll go over each thing individually here. Stage 1 is a soft rubber casing. This is going to be your shock absorption layer, and I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment here. Now, this is, as I said, soft rubber, and it's very, very malleable, and certain parts have a lot more bulk to it, and you'll see why in a minute. And this just slides right over the phone. Now, you wouldn't simply use this by itself. It has to be used in conjunction with the hard plastic outer layer. Now, the hard plastic isn't very thick, but it's got a lot of rigidity on some key stress points. Whether you drop the phone on the corner, on its side, on top or bottom, the stress points all have reinforcements. And this slides over the soft rubber portion. And now you have to do this correctly, because this side is the one with a hole on it, and it goes over where the power button would be. Now you'll notice that on the soft rubber part, the power button is right here, and we have some slightly extruded rubber parts over here for the volume control. Now, keeping this in mind, once we put the hard plastic cover over everything, there's going to be something you're going to notice that's going to be pretty readily apparent when you hold the phone, and that is that unlike the volume buttons that are extruded outwards, the power button is recessed inwards, and it can be a little difficult to access for some people, but I think it's just something you're going to get used to. I don't think it's that big of a deal that it's kind of recessed in there, and there actually is a good reason why it's recessed in there, and that's because the sliding cover that goes over the entire bit has holds the phone by the middle portion right here where the power button would be on this side. So if the button wasn't recessed, it would be hitting the power button, turning your phone on every time you slid it inside of the case. Now, when it is on like this plastic case right here on the outside is designed so that it's covering your screen, it's covering the back. You get full 360 degrees of protection. It just kind of clips onto your belt, or at least that's the idea, or just anywhere on your pants, and slides off. Now, this top portion here has a soft velvet layer right here to prevent any screen damage. I personally don't use this portion, but it's nice to know that there's an option for it. It's an extra layer of protection. But let's talk about the plastic portion here. Now, you'll see that there's these ridges that are raised up. That's because when you lay the phone flat, they want you to have some distance, more than just, having the camera recessed in a little bit, so that when you lay it flat, the camera lens is not in any direct danger of being scratched on any surface that you might put it on, which is nice. They're taking that into account, you know, the long-term durability of your phone, and, you know, keeping the pictures nice and beautiful. Another feature you'll notice right away is that this has a stand, which really complements this phone's design. Now, whether you're watching video on this beautiful display here, or you're listening to audio from your music, having it standing up like this, kind of aiming towards you, is really nice. So for me, whenever I'm cooking dinner or doing something in the kitchen, it's nice to have this sitting on the counter, and instead of laying the phone flat and having the music just going upwards, I can have it kind of pointing towards me, and it makes the musical experience a lot better. And, you know, these speakers are really good. It's one of the best things about this phone. So this case really kind of augments that capability just a little bit more, and it's really pleasant to be able to just sit here, and it's kind of at this 45-degree angle that just seems right for when you're viewing stuff, so you don't have to hold it. You can kind of just sit back and relax, and I think that's a great feature to put on the case itself. Now let's talk about the protection that this case provides, because that's really what we're after here. Now, I had reviewed 3 other cell phone cases besides the one that comes with the Axon 7. One from Spigen, one from Teku, and one from Poetic. And they all had some features about them that made them unique, but there were some issues with all of them. That's why I wanted to give just one more case a try. And one of the things I had talked about was the way the phone gets damaged during a drop. When you have a case that's just a single hard plastic layer, or just a thin plastic layer or thin rubber, what ends up happening is when you drop your phone, the momentum from the drop gets directly transferred to your phone instead of being absorbed by the case, which ends up damaging the phone. And that's not what we want. We want something that's going to absorb and distribute the shock to the case so that the phone doesn't take the full brunt of that impact. And there's multiple ways that cell phone case manufacturers do this, and that's why I liked Teku in my previous reviews, because Teku did a really good job of absorbing the impact really well. But the thing about Teku was it kind of had some weak points about it. And just for comparison, I got the Teku case right here. It just has this thick rubber right here, which is good for absorbing an impact, but it doesn't distribute the impact, which it would be nice if it did, because then you would have 2 separate ways of protecting it. You know, distributing the impact and absorbing it, instead of just one or the other, which is all the Teku does. Is it has both, but depending on where it lands, will determine how it protects the phone. Now, the case here from Circlemall attempts to rectify that issue. See, we have that soft rubber casing that absorbs the momentum, because it has rubber that can compress and slow down acceleration ever so slightly. But on top of that, we have these reinforced stress points that will take the brunt and distribute that impact momentum throughout the rest of the case, instead of letting it all being focused on one particular spot. So, when we combine those 2 things together, we get a case that actually does protect the way it's supposed to. And if you look at cases from reputable brands like OtterBox, you'll see them using a very similar system. A soft inner layer to absorb momentum, and a strong outer layer to distribute impact force. That is the magic recipe. Now, this case does a really good job of that. Like I was saying before, if it lands on the bottom here, like this, horizontally, it's got 3 points in which it will distribute the impact. And if it's hitting the corner here, the plastic can flex just a little bit to help distribute the impact, but more importantly, we've got a layer that's either going to crack first, and then we have another layer under it that's going to absorb what's left, leaving the phone to take much less damage than it would on its own. But here's the thing, they didn't just stop there, they added another layer of protection. Unlike Poetic, which built a screen protector into a two-piece design, they simply gave us a screen protector made from tempered glass with a hardness rating of 9, which is pretty darn hard. Now, they only give you one, and you want to make sure you do it right. You notice on my phone there were a few issues. I didn't get it just right. They give you a 2-stage cleaning kit as well. First a wet application and then a dry. And I think it does a really good job of getting everything ready. I just goofed up on it, to be quite honest. And another thing about the tempered glass, and you'll find this issue with tempered glass on pretty much any brand for the Axon 7, is it doesn't really cover the entire screen properly. As you can see, this is pushed over as far as it'll go to the edge of the screen, but we have some part of the screen that's left open here, and top and bottom wise, they could have been a little more precise by adding just maybe a fraction of a millimeter or so more in terms of how tall it is. All in all, though, if you do a good job and you center it properly, I don't think you'll notice much. I don't see any rainbow effect with this glass screen protector, so that's a plus. A lot of times I see people talking about a rainbow effect with tempered glass screen protectors. So, for whatever it's worth, this one doesn't appear to have that issue. And last but not least, well, probably least, actually, now that I think about it, is a stylus. Now, I'm not sure why they included a stylus, but hey, it works. And, you know, you can navigate and do whatever you want. And this stylus plugs, or can be, you know, attached to the phone if you want to sacrifice your headphone port. And just kind of dangles there. It's kind of nice. It's a little extra that they added. But what I think overall about this case, and in general, you know, I've been using this as my daily driver for my Axon 7 for a little while now, is I think it'll provide even more protection than Teku's design. And I think this is probably the most well thought out design so far for a case that I have seen for the Axon 7. Now, if you have an Axon 7, you've probably noticed by now that the selection for accessories is pretty sparse, which is really unfortunate because this is a really great phone. That being said, hopefully this helps you understand if you want to try this case out, if this is the kind of route you want to go down versus another case. Now, I have read the comments in my other reviews, and people were saying that, oh, they don't like a thick case, but my personal tastes are as such. I don't see any reason why a phone has to be so thin I can shave my beard with it. You see this kind of general design where phones have to be thin, and I just don't understand why. Quite frankly, this isn't all that thick. I mean, to some people they're going to say, oh, it adds like 2 or 3 times the thickness of the original phone, but the phone by itself was never very thick to begin with. I don't think it's a problem. It fits in my pockets just fine. Unless you're wearing skinny jeans or something, I don't think you're ever going to have an issue with the phone being this thick. And I mean, other advantages are, you know, everything on this is textured right down to this. and all these little parts, so it ain't going to slip out of your hands. It's got the dual form of protection, the shock absorption and momentum distribution throughout the entire thing. It comes with a tempered glass screen protector and a velvet lined holster, I guess you would call this, to carry it with you if you don't want to put it in your pocket directly. For $10, this is an incredible deal. I do very much recommend this. I don't see any real flaws with this design. And with that being said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, show your friends, check out my other videos. I've got plenty of them. And if you're viewing on Amazon, please give me a thumbs up or a like on this review if you thought it was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll try and answer them if I get a chance. And I've also done reviews on Amazon of all the other cases that I've tried for the Axon 7. So if you feel inclined to, go ahead and check those out. And yeah, that's pretty much it.